I recently decided to shoot a whole bunch of stock footage clips in one day just to see how many I could get done. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I decided to do it, how it went, the problems I encountered, and of course, the lessons I learned. By the way, if you are new here, my name is Anton Wong, and I am here to unleash the power of video, so if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Now, let's go back a little bit. Why did I decide to do this? Well, for a while I've seen stock footage as a great way to supplement my own videos and also the videos of my clients to make a more visually interesting video. Of course, the best option would often be to go to shoot original footage, but that's not always possible. And so sites like Storyblocks and Envato Elements, as well as a whole bunch of other stock video libraries, are very helpful when editing videos. I considered making a stock video for a while now, but I never actually went through with it. And I had seen videos and articles about how people were able to make some passive income from the footage that they had shot on previous shoots, as well as specifically for stock footage sites. And I knew that I wanted to build additional passive income streams for myself, as many who work in freelance media production and media production in general, sometimes work and income can be a little bit feast or famine. So after some research into what kind of stock footage I should shoot, how I should shoot it, and where I could upload it, and some other things like that, I knew that the next step was I just had to start shooting the footage. And if you know me, you know that I like to do things in a little bit of a challenge manner, so just to get myself going. So I decided to challenge myself to picking a day with some time that I had and just shoot as many video clips as I could in one day. It wasn't meant to be a strict challenge, but more of a just motivation, just to see how many I could do and just to get me started somewhere. And this challenge was just about shooting the clips, since editing, submitting, and keywording and all that stuff could take a while before it actually ends up on a stock video website. Of course, the first step in the morning was to do a little bit of brainstorming and checking the stock video sites for what kind of shots I should take. A lot of these stock agencies like Pond5, Shutterstock, Adobe Stock, and Storyblocks seem to have a lot of demand for people, emotions, specific actions or activities, and places. There's also demand for other stuff, but I just tried to take stock, no pun intended, of what I had access to shoot. I know that I have my gray background over here that I could use to shoot pretty much anything that just requires a plain old background, as well as a computer setup that I could use that for, shots that require someone's just sitting at a computer. When I'm looking for stock video, I often look for shots that convey specific emotions, so I jotted down a list of a few different facial expressions that I could act out. I also got down a list of different locations within my town that I have not yet seen in stock footage library, despite living in a town of over 200,000 people just north of Toronto. When looking at sites like Pond5 and Shutterstock, I knew that I was going to be able to shoot some footage that may be available for editorial use, but not necessarily for all commercial uses. What this means is that I may be able to have a shot that contains a brand or a logo or a recognizable place or a person or anything that I don't have explicit license to use commercially. I can still license that photo or video clip as an editorial clip that people can use in news articles, reports, documentaries, or any sort of commentary on the subject that has to do with the clip. This means I can sell and license shots of my town's main street, even though the shot might contain business signs or recognizable architecture or even people. All I have to do is just sell it exclusively as news editorial content. After writing down my ideas came the next logical step, shooting the clips. Given that I was already sitting at my computer, I figured it would be a good idea to just start with some shots of someone using a computer. Me, I'm not someone using that computer, obviously. Now, this was actually not my first time shooting stock footage. I had actually set up my camera to shoot myself giving myself a haircut. I figured at-home grooming was kind of in demand because of the pandemic, but looking back at the footage, maybe I could have shot or planned the shot better. So when making this shot of me at a computer, I decided to set up my camera a little bit more, put it on a tripod with a dimmable bicolor LED, just to sort of mimic the flicker of a screen playing a video or a movie. One thing I knew was going to be difficult from a previous encounter shooting that stock video clip that I had mentioned was not being able to fully see what the frame looks like if I'm just not in a position to be able to see the LCD screen very well. Luckily, my Panasonic G85 has the ability to pair with the Panasonic imaging app on my phone via Wi-Fi connection, so anytime I wanted to change my focus or exposure settings or anything like that, I could just use the remote shooting mode on my phone and even play back some of the clips that I had shot, though not necessarily the highest quality for the playback, but good enough. The first few shots of the day were actually harder than I thought they were going to be. Adjusting the shots and the lighting just to make sure that everything was good as I wanted it to be, it took a few takes. And since I was shooting in 4K, because those are higher in demand and pay more, I had to constantly offload the footage to make sure it doesn't overfill my SD card. And then of course, you know, there was this moment with the light. Okay, I used one of these to like shine a light in my face, and now my eyes are, yeah, I can still see the lights. Oh man. I ended up recording about a dozen different shots of me looking at a computer, either working or browsing. For some reason, I forgot to record shots of me typing or mousing around with my mouse, but I'll probably have to go back and do some of those shots later. I figured I would also record pouring cereal since I was kind of hungry, and I saw great soft light coming in from my kitchen window. The shot was great until I got the branded milk carton in the shot. I tried it again without the milk carton frame, hoping to stitch the two shots together. I don't know if that will work or if that will blend seamlessly. I don't know if agencies would accept the shot if they notice a slight jump cut. But anyway, next up were the outdoor shots. Since it was already late afternoon and I wanted shots before dark, so I set out to my town's Main Street Historic District. I figured some news reports might want some shots of the town's historic landmarks at some point in time. So I grabbed shots of the Performing Arts Center, town founding plaque, and a few other places. I did notice that my outdoor shots had a bit of this color fringing and other lens characteristics. This is because I was using an ND fader on my lens to stop down the light. Using a fader is not as sharp as using a glass ND filter. I think it's good enough for editorial content, but you know, we'll have to see. Maybe next time I might just purchase an ND filter for this specific reason. However, the biggest mistake I made was not actually a technical or creative one at all. It was logistical. I forgot to pee before I left. Big mistake. Given that I didn't want to explode and our province's businesses were back on lockdown, I had the only option of going back home earlier than I wanted. I only ended up getting about a dozen or so usable shots, but I will be back to take more shots of that area with better creative ideas, technical pre-planning, and hopefully an empty bladder. I got a little bit busy with some things when I got back, so I wasn't able to shoot again until after dinner and after dark, but that's fine because I decided to shoot clips in my bedroom. And instead of using my higher contrast setup, like this one I'm using right now, I decided to bounce my light off of my wall to get a more high-key, softer image. Unfortunately, my wall is slightly green, so that might show up a little bit in the image, but I was shooting all of this with a flatter picture profile, so I knew I had a little bit of room to adjust the colors, and it's not so intense that it's unrecoverable since I shoot all my YouTube videos in this room anyway. So I went down the list of different emotions that I could act out, recording 15 to 30 second clips of myself expressing those different emotions at the camera, away from the camera, and at a phone. One thing that I forgot to do because I haven't done since high school was a warm-up routine. I would like to premise this by saying that I'm not a professional actor. I don't know if I needed to say that, but yeah, my face and body have had to be contorted into different directions in addition to having to express and experience those different emotions that I had to express for camera. Had I done some performative warm-up exercises, I would not have been as tired as quickly, since going from happy to devastated in a matter of minutes was something that I had not done for years since high school drama class. It was a physical and emotional workout, the best kind. I had to take a break between some of the takes because I was trying to rest my face and catch my breath at the same time and get my mind into the right emotion. It's at times like this that I'm reminded of the craft and skill of actors and on-camera talent. I respected them before, but now I respect them even more. Finally, like with all good shoots, I finished it off with some dancing and some shots. Oh, sorry, hold on, I read that wrong. I finished with shots of me dancing, which I may need to even reshoot because I neglected to cover the logos of my headphones. So at the end of it all, I was able to get around 60 or so usable shots at the end of the day, maybe more or less depending on whether the agencies actually accept my clips. I may even upload some of them for free on Pexels or bundle them to sell them myself. So after all this, what did I learn? Well, the first thing I learned was planning for these shoots. Next time I gotta plan these shoots better, closer to like how I plan a client shoot or any other more serious shoot. The second thing I would do is do some acting warm-ups if I was actually going to be in the shots, because man, that was a workout. Third, I should look over what doesn't get accepted by the agencies and just try to figure out how I can get it closer to the stuff that does get accepted. And finally, anytime I go outside for a shoot, I should probably pee first. I'm not making that mistake again. But hey, let me know if you've ever done anything like this. Not the peeing part, but have you ever just shot or submitted stock video? Let me know down in the comments. I'll likely be doing a follow-up video where I talk about editing and submitting the stock footage to these agencies, so make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss that. As a matter of fact, it could already be in the description of this video depending on when you're watching it. But that's all I have for today. If you like this video, be sure to hit like, and I'll just have to see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.